1942. The first major attempt to land Allied troops in France was a disaster. Almost half the assaulting force of 7,000 was lost trying to storm the port's powerful defenses. Many troops never got beyond the beaches. Hundreds of others walked straight into captivity.
We learned so much from Dieppe that I think it was quite invaluable as far as the final invasion was concerned. I think everything that could go wrong went wrong with that operation. And the result of it was that by the end...
Cossack's outline plan for invasion was approved by Churchill and Roosevelt. The cross-channel assault was now at last to become reality. Its code name, Overlord. Its target date, May 1944. The springboard for invasion would be England. Britons, displaced once by Hitler's bombs, were on the move again. This time to make way for the great invasion armies. For many, this meant upheaval, financial loss, personal problems. But the cause was momentous. The long-awaited Second Front. The Allies were fighting bitterly for space to deploy the mass of men and materials assembling behind them. It was a slow, dogged advance against an enemy who had recovered strongly. Hedged bocage countryside was difficult for the Allied tanks. By the 10th of June, the Allies were opposed by only 3 panzer divisions. The other 7 available divisions had not been released to Rommel by the German High Command. Despite this, the invaders were little more than inching forward. By the 12th of June, the 5 beachheads had been linked to give a lodgement 60 miles long and up to 20 miles deep. The ancient town of Bayeux now welcomed the leader of the Free French, General de Gaulle, setting foot in France for the first time since 1940. On the 6th of August, the Canadians were on the outskirts of Falaise. They entered the town on the 16th. By now, only a narrow corridor separated the Canadian and American spearheads. The remnants of the German 7th Army, some 15 fighting divisions, were pressed into a tiny sack. At last, the trap closed. 10,000 died. 50,000 were captured. For the Germans, Falaise was one of the worst disasters since Stalingrad. The toll of prisoners rubbed in the magnitude of the defeat. But 40,000 German troops escaped, and this caused friction between the Allies. Parisians, under Nazi domination for 4 years, sensed liberation at last. As the Germans began to pull out, the resistance forces emerged into the open to take their revenge. Remembering the oppression, indignity, humiliations, Parisians gave vent to long-stored hatred. In 1940, they had seen Paris fall without a shot. Now they made up for it in a burst of violence not seen in Paris throughout the war. Parisians had one thought: reprisal against the enemy, the settlement of old score. Morning had come. Remembering the oppression, indignity, humiliations, Parisians gave vent to long-stored hatred. In 1940, they had seen Paris fall without a shot. Now they made up for it in a burst of violence not seen in Paris throughout the war. Parisians had one thought: reprisal against the enemy, the settlement of old score.